in '96. In fact, I was on the concourse this morning, 170th in the concourse, and one second, let me get these gloves on. Yeah, it's not as bad as it was in '96. Not nearly as bad. Actually, not nearly as good because that was fun. So I went to the concourse this morning, and I remember in '96 I was just walking straight down in the middle of the concourse, Grand Concourse, 170th in the concourse, and it was just completely empty. It was like an absolute ghost town. Today, it's not like there was traffic out there. Um, there was traffic out there. There were people out there. So yeah, it's not like it was. I mean, this is the heaviest snow so far of this season in New York City. But yeah, I was expecting something similar to '96, but yeah, '96 was a serious snowstorm. So I mean, it's coming down still, but it's nothing. Like I said, it's nothing like it was back in '96. '96 was it completely shut the city down. This, you got people outside, people playing in the snow. You still got some traffic. You got a lot of people going to work, and so it's like I said, it's the heaviest snow so far this year, but it doesn't compare to 1996. 1996 was just everything was completely just shut down. But since I'm here, I want to talk about the mandates real quick. If you've been paying attention to the news, to the way people are talking about things, you can see a shift. There's a shift in the energy, a shift in people, the way people are viewing the mandates. And I knew this was coming because the entire reason why people have been supporting the mandates was because of fear. Just like, and the media was capitalizing on that fear just like crazy. And even now, the media is still trying to, certain people in the media are still trying to, you know, manipulate people and just exploit people off that fear to get them to support these bad policies. But people are starting like it's like a spell. Like people are coming out of the spell and starting to realize, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And there's gonna be an even bigger shift, and that people are gonna realize not only does it not make sense, but they were actually harming people. These policies were actually causing harm. And because even look at it. So Kyrie, of course, everybody knows Kyrie Irving. He was he was standing strong, and the reporters keep bringing it up, and he'll check them. He'll be like, well, listen, like when does it ever make sense to keep asking somebody about what they're doing, decisions that they're making concerning their own body? Since when? Since when is this? When is that like acceptable for you to just keep pressing? Oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Like it's disrespectful from just a interpersonal point of view, and then when you start talking about policy, it's just it's intrusive. I had an exchange with somebody on Twitter, and it's interesting because the way they are framing it, the way they try to frame it, is that, oh well, it's just people not being able to go to a restaurant. That's not a big constitutional violation. I'm like, whoa, whoa! It's not just people being able to go to restaurants or not being able to go to restaurants. You're talking about people having sovereignty over their own bodies. Number one. Number two, you're talking about people being forced, being told, and being prohibited from being able to work and provide for their families, themselves, and their families. Think about that. People, these mandates, especially like the New York City, the key to New York City, they're doing it in Boston, they're doing it in Chicago, Philly. They're saying you cannot work, you cannot earn a living, you cannot feed yourself and your family unless you do this thing. Like, under no circumstances has that ever been acceptable for anything. There's actually case law with people who've been convicted of heinous crimes, and the government says no. That's an like, you can't put that kind of infringement on somebody even after they've been convicted of a crime. Like, you can't just say they can't work, they can't feed themselves. Like, the telling them that they can't take care of themselves and the basic needs of them and their families is just a gross violation, and it's something that has never been, at least I've definitely never seen it, and I can't even find any time that that has been done or been viewed as acceptable inside in the case law. So they've gone just way above and beyond in violating people's rights with these mandates. But they don't want to talk about it is cold. It is cold. Like, seriously, my fingers, like, I can barely feel them right now. So I'm not going to be on too long. Uh, but yeah, I mean, they 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 don't want to talk about it in terms of they don't want to talk about it in terms of what the harm it's actually doing. They're just talking. They try to say, oh, it's just people being able to go to the movies, but they don't want to talk about the fact that people can't work at movie theaters. People haven't been able to work in restaurants. People lost their jobs. They caused harm to people with these policies, but people are starting to speak out more, and people who were supportive of these are starting to see, like, wait a minute, like, this wasn't right. And once that reckoning comes, there's going to be consequences, political consequences for the politicians that implemented these policies, and for all of these politicians that were silent. There are going to be repercussions. Because, like, even now, you got Evangeline Lilly, if you know, from Ant-Man and the Wasp, from Lost, and she's speaking out. Now they're gonna try to attack her. They're gonna try to press her, make it look like she's crazy. But she's like, listen, you've got, like, truckers trying to just make a living, trying to feed themselves and their families, and you're telling them they can't do that? That's crazy. It's there's like really no precedent for the policies that they've pushed under the guise of public safety and the harm that they've caused, because they don't want to talk about it. And that's what's amazing. If you just take a look at these media outlets, they have been trying to frame this in a way where you don't see the reality of the harm that these policies are causing. But like I said, it is significantly cold out here. So I'm a I'm gonna be shutting down the stream and getting inside because I can't feel my fingers right now. All right. Whew.